Breaking news from Caesar Square. The terrorists known as Scarlet Guard have blown up the bridge that connects East and West Archeon, effectively cutting off supply lines and traffic. They then attempted to infiltrate the palace through Prince Tiberius VII and threaten the king. Soldiers were dispersed to hunt the terrorists down, and we wait the outcome of their efforts. Stay tuned here for all the emerging details. I'm Greg Rockefeller.
I'm Beth Rockefeller.
And I'm Mia Rockefeller, and this is Reading with the Rockefellers, a family book club podcast.
Today we are discussing Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard.
So grab a copy and join us on this literary journey.
I can barely keep up the pace, but the soldier at my back, holding my shackled arms, keeps shoving. Another does the same to Maven, forcing him along with me. Arvin follows us, making sure we can't escape. His presence is a dark weight, dulling my senses. I can still see the passage around us, empty and far from the prying eyes of the court, but I don't have the strength to care. Cal leads the pack, his shoulders tense and tight as he fights the urge to look back. The sound of gunfire and screams and blood in the tunnels rumbles in my mind. They are dead. We are dead. It is over.
Welcome to Reading with the Rockefellers. This is episode 16, Red Queen, chapter 26.
I have one quick question. What does blood sound like?
Good question. I like this. Squirt, squirt, squirt. I don't know. I really don't know.
I thought you were going to say squelch there for a minute, and I was about to vomit.
I was just kind of thinking that it's like the sound of splashing or liquid hitting liquid, like if there's water down in there. I don't know.
I don't know how you could hear it over the sound of screaming
and gunshots.
Though.
Right.
But anyway.
I think it's metaphorical, maybe. Yeah.
It's like, I wanted to clarify.
Got to somehow make some light out of this chapter because
so depressing.
Yeah, here we are, guys. Chapter 26.
This is the big one.
Yeah, this is a milestone.
We've talked about this moment for a long time.
Yeah, before we even get too far into it, we are going to have 2 episodes on this. We're going to do our episode today where we go through the chapter. Then we're going to have another episode.
Yep, next week.
Which we will go back through the book and go over all the events that lead up to this chapter because there's a lot of Maven to go back and look at and how he acted. So.
Also, I do want to point out before we really get into this that when Dad was first reading through this book, I made such a big deal about this chapter.
Yep.
And then
it was like a countdown.
It was. It became a countdown for me to where I didn't have to lie anymore.
Right. We'll discuss that once we get closer to into this. Or maybe next week.
Maybe next week. Yeah.
Because that's a funny story as well.
I'm still mad at you.
Right. This is the Red Queen equivalent of episode 8 of season 1 of Mr. Robot. Yeah. Where you find out the twist in Mr. Robot.
Yeah.
Or whatever episode it is in season 1 of The Good Place.
Yeah.
Where Eleanor has her
12 or something
realization. Yeah. This is that for Red Queen.
For Red Queen.
The moment where it all becomes clear and everything changes.
Yes. And all of the all mare or the mare girl references make a lot more sense. So
yeah. So anyway,
let's dig into it.
Let's get depressing.
So like right out of the gate here, isn't Elara already basically like in Mare's mind at this point?
Yeah, they get into this room, and then Elara's just like, well, it's brain bending time.
Yeah, soundproof.
Yep.
Windowless. Mm-hmm. No sentinels room.
Yeah.
So
she makes all the soldiers leave.
Right, they are alone. Yeah, first it's Cal, Maven, the king, the queen, Mare, and like a couple of Cal's guards.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, beat it.
Right.
And so it's just them.
It's
and Arvin,
just
the king, the queen, Arvin, Mare, Maven, and Cal.
Yeah.
And nobody to hear them scream.
Right, and Arvin is basically silencing the abilities of Cal and Mare here.
Yeah, he's keeping them
Mare and
pressed
Maven?
down. Mare and Maven.
Mare and Maven,
Yeah.
not Cal.
Everything's about to change. It's all crazy. Cats and dogs living together.
Foreshadowing.
I'm excusing that.
So Elara jumps into Mare's mind.
Yay.
Yay?
It was sarcastic.
And
Could you not hear it? Was it not sarcastic
no,
enough?
She goes-
didn't come through.
All the way back to Will's wagon when...
Yeah, like everything.
Yeah,
All the way back to making the deal
making the deal.
to
Yeah.
save Pilarn.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah. But Maven pops up. I kind of pictured this like the scene in The Wizard of Oz where Dorothy's passed out on the bed or whatever, and she's flying in the house and she sees the face of her neighbor and Aunt Em and all those people. Like, I picture that's how it is with Elara, and Maven's face pops up and she's like, smack!
Nope. No.
Don't want to see that.
Nope.
Next.
Nope.
Right.
You know, because she's not interested in finding out what Mare thinks of Maven. It's irrelevant to her.
But also, like, she doesn't want to know about Maven's part in this either, which is kind of suspicious.
Right, she doesn't want the details.
Yeah, she doesn't,
Right.
like,
And-
she doesn't need that from Mare,
and she
which
goes
is
in-
very suspicious.
She goes immediately back to Will's wagon, right where she knew that Mare had first talked to someone from the Scarlet Guard, like pretty quick,
yeah.
kind of eerily enough. And when the last time she read Mare's mind when Mare first fall, she didn't read
She
anything about the Scarlet Guard, anything
Yeah.
about Will, or did she? And Mare just didn't know it at that point.
Right.
So the soldiers leave.
Yeah.
Cal says that Mare and Maven have been basically part of the Scarlet Guard and doing this since from the beginning.
Yeah.
At least Mare has from the beginning, and he clearly the tone in the room is that Mare has somehow turned Maven.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was perfect before Mare arrived.
Right.
Maven doesn't flinch.
We're
so
gonna
take
be
one off the flinch
We're
counter.
going to be subtracting some flinches here. There's a
Yeah.
couple times where that's used in here.
Yeah, for every flinch chapter, we have an anti-flinch chapter, and this is our anti-flinch
Right, he doesn't
chapter.
flinch to the king. What does he say? We have some quotes here.
Yeah, that's some fun stuff.
The king says, "You knew about this, my boy?" And Maven says, "I helped plan it." And the shooting, I helped, or I chose the targets. You told me to find a cause, father, and I did. Are you proud of me? But Tiberius rounds on me instead, snarling like a bear. You did this. You poisoned him. You poisoned my boy. When tears spring to his eyes, I know the king's heart, no matter how small or cold, has been broken. He loves Maven in his own way, but it's too late for that. You've taken my son from me. You've done that yourself, I say through gritted teeth. Maven has his own heart, and he believes in a different world as much as I do. If anything, your son changed me. I don't believe you. You have tricked him somehow. She does not lie. Hearing Elara agree with me rips my breath away. Our son has always thirsted for change. Her eyes linger on her son. She sounds afraid. He's just a boy, Tiberius.
Okay.
Elara coming to Maven's, of course,
Right.
but
But kind of Mare's defense in a way,
A little bit, yeah.
and it freaks her out a little bit. It's like, wait, am I in like a different dimension? Is it opposite day? What's up here?
yeah, the king's just, I mean, this is like, it's like opposite land, opposite world here, because the king's just irate.
Yeah.
And Alara's trying to be like the calm one, and let's just
Yeah.
step back.
This is not normal.
Now, something's up.
Something's way up.
Why is Elara giving platitudes? She never does that.
Yeah.
Something's
This
up.
is freaky.
And then, of course, King Daddy, that's what I call King Tiberius, King Daddy says, basically, he still has to be punished.
Yeah,
I mean,
he still killed people.
he's responsible for the deaths of people. He
Right.
has to be punished. Cal's basically tries to butt daddy him, but Dad.
But Daddy!
Yeah.
I used to do that a lot.
Oh, yeah. Mare
I can admit
screaming
to that.
inside her head to Elara to save Maven. Like, save him, thinking that means that saves her, too.
Right. No. Mare.
Oh,
And then the
you
king,
beautiful little tropical fish. Sorry.
the king even says to Cal, when you wear my crown, you will understand. I have to make this decision here. I can't just, because he's your brother, doesn't mean it's okay for him to commit treason.
Yeah. Then Alara's like, but I don't think that's gonna happen. So.
Yeah, meaning Cal wearing the crown.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
Correct.
And so the king's like, huh? What are you talking about? Turns to face Elara, but gets frozen in the process. So Elara has jumped into the king's mind and is doing what Mare saw the Whisper do in the arena, what Elara did to her.
Yeah.
She's freezing the king and using him as a puppet.
I sound a little excited. I'm probably going to sound excited through like this whole thing. It's not because I enjoy what's happening. It's just because it's an exciting point to get past because everything kind of changes here.
And we can finally discuss a lot of things in the previous chapters that we couldn't fully discuss.
So next week is going to be...
It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
So then Cal's frozen too.
Yes.
So Cal and Tiberius. And at this point, Arvin doesn't seem to be doing much of anything. So clearly he seems to know what's going on here.
Yeah.
Basically, the queen is taking over at this point.
Uh-huh.
And what is Mare thinking here?
Mare is thinking, she's saving us. For her son's life, she's going to save us. We bet on Cal loving me enough to change the world. We should have looked to the queen instead. I want to laugh, to smile, but something in Cal's face keeps my relief at bay. Julian warned me, Cal growls, still trying to break her hold. I thought he was lying about you, about my mother, about what you did to her.
Some things are dawning on Cal right now.
Yeah, but they haven't quite dawned on Mare yet.
2 and 2 equals 4 for Cal. Right now, Mare 2 and 2 equals Maven safe. I don't even know.
Aw, Cal learned math. Cal, I'm so happy that you passed your basic arithmetic test. Finally.
It only took you until almost 21 years old.
Good Lord.
Sorry.
So
we have to keep this light, like we said.
Even the king, like Cal's like, oh, then I see what's going on. And even the king sees what's going on. And Mare, maybe it's just because she thinks she's being, because she's in a bad situation and this is at least different if she thinks she's safe.
Yeah.
But she's like, not noticing that both Cal and the king are like, whoa.
Yeah.
Saying out loud that clearly the things that Julian were saying were true.
Right.
True. Yeah. Elara is as bad as you think she is.
Yeah.
And
that's
just going in one ear and out the other with Mare.
And that's why whenever Mare would bring up Julian around Cal, he would always be like, yeah.
Right.
Because he thought that Julian lied.
And it brings into light Maven's previous disdain for Julian as well.
Right.
But at this point, even after the king realizes the truth and says so out loud, and says, basically the king says, Sarah knew, and you punished her for it. For knowing the truth. Mare still thinks Elara's helping. Elara's helping them.
Yeah. She's like, we're still okay, right? Like, I'm still on the good side of this because I have Maven on my side.
She's even like screaming at Elara, you've got to save Maven. You have to get him out of here.
Don't worry about me, just keep him safe.
Right. That is the most Mare, you beautiful little tropical fish moment in this.
Don't worry about me, just keep him safe.
She's paralyzed on the ground, begging for her sworn enemy to save the guy she didn't trust 10 chapters ago and to kill her instead. It's like, girl.
Not necessarily like kill her instead, but, like, don't worry about her. Like, don't try and save her is the point.
Yeah.
Like, just save Maven. It's like, oh, honey.
Yeah.
Oh, honey.
And what
honey,
does
honey.
when she says that? What does Elara say to her?
Yeah.
Does anyone
Here's the
have that?
moment everything changes. She basically tells her, "Oh, little lightning girl, I don't worry
care
about you at all. I don't even think about you."
And then Maven just like melts his handcuffs off. And,
Yeah.
But she still can't use her powers,
Right. So,
Elara says the only thing that she thinks about with Mare is that she finds her loyalty to Maven inspiring. And she's like, "Isn't it inspiring, Maven?"
and he's just like, yeah.
He's like, "Yep," as the shackles just fall from his wrists. Arven's let him go. He's heated up. He's melted this iron. He's free, and he stands up.
And Mare's like, Maven, you're gonna help me up, right?
Yeah. Hey, babe.
Maven, you're gonna help me up, right?
Maven's
Right?
like, no, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm good. So,
And Arven's still holding her down, so she can't move anyway.
right.
So she's still
Right.
stuck there.
Cal's yelling, but they're in a soundproof room.
Right.
Right.
Nobody's going to be able to come and
So
hear them.
finally, Mare gets it.
Oh. She's like, oh.
And this is what she says to Maven. You used me. Finally, Maven condescends to look back at me. Catching on, are you? You chose the targets, the Colonel, Reynald, Bellicose, even Ptolemus. They weren't the guard's enemies, they were yours. I want to tear him apart, lightning or not. I want to make him hurt. I am finally learning my lesson. Anyone can betray anyone.
Honey, Julian warned you. He warned you.
Right, and he kept saying anyone could betray anyone over and over, and she kept thinking, yeah, cows can betray me. Oh, I know Elara,
Right.
the king. What about Farley? But
Maybe even Julian. But for some reason, it just doesn't apply to Maven.
and
Yeah.
we're going to get into that because I think they set up several reasons why in the book. But when we go into the review, we'll definitely get into where he sets this up. There's a point where he hooks her, hook, line, and sinker, and it's done. And no matter what, as we can see, even when the king and Cal catch on, she still was thinking Maven was on her side.
Yeah.
So much so that she was willing to make the leap of logic to think that Elara was saving her.
Oh, honey. Oh, honey.
So then it dawns on her that everything up into and including the coup was his idea.
Right.
That he worked tirelessly to convince Mare that Cal would choose her
Yes.
and pushed her into it knowing that it was going to fail.
And also that Elara has known all of this and has kind of had to cover Mare's tracks because she left so many obvious signs.
Yeah, Elara points out how she's just really wasn't very good at covering her tracks, and Elara had to kind of cover them for her. So, but of course she knew everything all along. With her ability...
How could she not?
Right, and as close as... Maven's the person who she's closest to the most of the time.
Right.
How can you think she doesn't know what's going through his mind?
Exactly. It's like, even if she trusts him, you think she wouldn't just, like, slip in there occasionally? I don't... Honey. I can't with her.
But I think the weight of, that Elara was behind everything, like even, sending Maven to her.
Using Maven's servant to get him into the Scarlet Guard.
Yeah.
I mean, how was
her
this
involvement is so deep.
right? And it makes you wonder: was the servant used just because he really did like the Scarlet Guard and what they stood for, or was he being controlled by Elara too?
Right. She thinks it breaks against me, memories falling into place. I should have known deep down not to trust Maven. She did, but still. He was too perfect, too brave, too kind. He turned his back on his own to join the guard. He pushed me at Cal. He gave me exactly what I wanted, and it made me blind.
Well, you're a 17-year-old girl, so that tactic works really well.
Yeah, Elara knew exactly how to play her to get her to see Maven for what she wanted her to see Maven as. Like, she saw in Mare's mind that Mare had this kind of forgotten child syndrome living in the shadow of Giza.
Mm-hmm.
So she knew exactly to play Maven as the forgotten child, play up that angle.
Yeah, which he kind of is, but like they just took it up to 11.
Right. Elara was definitely not pushing that agenda onto Maven before that.
Right.
You know, she was not considering Maven the forgotten son. She
Right.
was always maneuvering for a way to make Maven overtake Cal.
Right.
Oh, sure.
And I want to get into that more next week, because that's not what this week's
Right,
episode is about. But this plan, I know, started probably when Maven was very young.
Probably.
This plan started when she killed Cal's mother.
I mean,
Right.
yeah. But like I said, we'll get into more of that next week. But, you know, this whole thing was cooked up between Elara and Maven for him to slip in and be exactly the person that Mare needed.
And it's like this plan has been kind of formulating for years. They've been thinking about this. I think Mare just kind of gave them an easy entry point.
Exactly.
Mare just made this so much easier for them.
It was a huge opportunity, and they took it. And so she's, you know, just devastated at this point because Maven is looking at her with no emotion at all. And she's like, was any of it true? Was
Right.
anything that you told me true? All the closeness that we had. Thomas, you know, all of those stories. Was any of that true? And she doesn't even really need him to answer to know the truth.
Right.
She can see it all on his face.
Yeah, that's what I just have. It was all a lie, Mare. Because if she finally gets it. He said, now, Maven does say, Thomas, that happened, but he was just a boy, just a red boy that died.
It made no difference in my life.
No difference, yeah.
And, you know, Mare's still just like, but it makes all the difference.
It's
you know,
like,
if you really cared for this boy, then that shows that you can have some sort of compassion in your heart.
But
and he's just like, no. Nah.
Yeah. The thing is, it's like, I think Mare is still thinking from a Red's perspective.
Yes.
She can't put herself in a Silver's brain.
Right.
Like, she can't put herself in that situation or in that mindset.
Well, she was raised by compassionate people.
Exactly.
And so she can't not think compassionately. She wasn't raised in this world where everything is a pawn.
She can't wrap her brain around a person with no empathy or compassion.
Yeah. She thinks that she wishes Julian was here so he could explain this to her because
Mare's kind of stupid.
Well, she's just naive. You know, she said this whole time, I'm not going to be a pawn in somebody's game and all this other stuff. And I know, you know, we talked about that on that episode, that's a YA trope that you're going to say, I'm not going to be a pawn in somebody's game while being a pawn in somebody's game.
Right.
But
however,
this is the moment that is coming crashing down on her. How hard she was played, how much she was used.
In all fairness,
strictly as a springboard.
The trope of I'm not going to be a pawn in somebody's game while being a pawn in somebody's game. The reason that I don't like that in a lot of YA books is because the character knows they're playing exactly into someone else's hands. At least in this book, she didn't know.
Right. When I see conversations about this book on Instagram or on the internet or whatever, it's always like, you expect a twist in a lot of YA books. You always expect there to be some big betrayal where, you know, the two characters break that you wouldn't think break. But this one is one of the ones that's listed as like the top blindsides. Like nobody saw this coming.
Yeah.
Maven was so
Okay,
good.
Dad.
Most people didn't see this. But
Most
Do you
people
want me to
didn't
go
see
ahead and
this
tell that
coming.
story, or do you want to
No,
save it for
no,
next
No,
week?
no, we'll save it.
That's
Okay.
next week's
but
story.
the thing with it is it's written so well, and the way the character of Maven is done so well in the book that you really, while Mare is being sucked into it, and at the back end you look back, you're like, okay, now I can see. Especially reading for a podcast, you look back and you see all the places where you should have seen it. But it's written so well that you get swept up with Mare.
Yeah,
in
totally. Totally.
Yeah.
And
We'll
then
talk a little bit more about that
when it
next
actually,
week.
when
Oh, yeah.
everything actually comes crashing down as it's doing now, it's such a huge shift,
Yeah.
so monumental that that's why this chapter is so good. It's a short
Right.
chapter.
It is. It's
But
not
it-
very long.
Just changes everything about the story. It
Yeah.
sets up all the books to come. So anyway,
let's get on with what actually happens.
we're biting. We're trying. We don't want to talk about this part.
I know, I don't want to talk about it. Maven,
We got to do it.
Maven is leaning into now this plan that he and Elara have cooked up with the forgotten son thing. And,
Yeah.
He's basically, finally airing his grievances to the king. You never saw me. You didn't need to pay any attention to me because you had Swole Cow.
Right.
You already had the perfect son, and so I didn't need to be anywhere. So the king is, kind of like Hail Marying here. That's not true. You're still my son. No matter how I feel about her, basically like, THOT over there, your mom. That's not going to affect the way I feel about you. You're still my son. And, not even what she's about to do, thinking that she's about to kill him.
Right.
He expects Elara to kill him at any minute.
Right.
And Elara steps in.
Well, doesn't she slap Cal too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like multiple times.
Well,
Like
says,
3 or 4 times.
it goes exactly like what it says is, "Dearest, I'm not doing anything, but your beloved boy," she slaps Cal. "The perfect heir," she slaps Cal again.
Harder this time.
Yeah. Corian's son, another slap, splitting his lip and drawing blood.
Yeah.
"I cannot speak for him. We had a son too, Tybe. No matter how you felt about me, you were supposed to love him." And the king says, "I did. I do." I slipped up.
Right.
Wait a minute. No, I still love him. He's still my son. Yeah, and Mare is just like stunned. Like she is just cannot believe that she's witnessing this family drama play out where
It's like-
Elara is literally walking up to a dude like twice her size and slapping him across the face. And Maven is not jumping in and saying, "Hey, don't hit my brother. Don't, let my dad up. What are you doing?"
Because Maven doesn't care.
Maven does not care. So the line, "Nothing prepares me for what comes next," is
Yeah.
pretty perfect.
I don't think anything prepared me for what comes next either.
No.
What happens next?
The king is like, Elara's probably gonna kill me soon, right?
Yeah.
He's not wrong, technically.
Correct. Cal takes the sword from the king's sheath, grabs a hold of the sword.
This isn't
But
like
not willingly.
Elara's making him do this.
Yeah, Elara makes him do all of this. He grabs the sword and he heats up. He starts to burn, so he heats up the entire sword until it's like glowing red.
And somehow doesn't melt?
It's Valerian steel or whatever. I don't know. And he slices off the head of the king.
Mm-hmm.
So he is forced by Elara using her mind bullets, her mind power, to decapitate his own father.
Yeah. So sorry for that violence, kids, but it happened in the book, so we have to cover it. And the king's body drops, and the head rolls away.
Yeah. Silver blood splashes everywhere.
Silver blood everywhere. I like to think of it like the unicorn blood in Harry Potter.
Please don't put that image in my brain. I don't want to see a pool of that.
Yeah, basically, they said it looks like a mirror on the floor. And symbolically, the crown rolls through this mirror stuff and rests at Maven's feet.
Yeah, which
It's going to look really good in the show.
Oh, right. Yeah, it's going to look great.
This,
Symbolism.
yes,
And
this.
what are the chances of that? Of it rolling through the blood and landing directly at Maven's feet?
What happens right here is something that I know, but having read into some of the other books, I will come back to multiple times because as we go through the books, there's a lot of different characters and we meet different people and different people have different reactions to Cal throughout the coming books. Different characters do.
Yeah.
But I always come back to this point because everything that's happened to Mayor or everybody else, I can't think of anything in any of these books that could be worse than a son being forced to, without having any control, kill his own father.
Yeah.
That's
and
crazy.
what makes it even worse is he also orphans himself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because his mom's already dead.
Right. Yeah.
And he's doing it at the hands of the woman that killed his mother.
And
yes,
now he's going to
which
look...
makes this just so much more confusing.
Right, and now he's obviously going to be the traitor.
Mm-hmm. Because as soon as
and
that
shunned
happens,
by Silvers and his kingdom.
as soon as the act is over, the cameras come back on. Mare has noticed that there's cameras, but they're not on. And then all of a sudden, the cameras come on.
Right. And
she can feel the electricity hum.
just before the cameras come on, Elara starts screaming and crying.
Throwing herself onto the king's body.
No.
Oh my God, Cal, what have you done?
And then
Yes.
Mare realizes the cameras have come back on.
Yeah.
Right.
And Maven goes into full daytime soap opera acting as well.
Oh, yeah. And they're both just screaming, you're traitors, you're murderers.
Right.
Somebody stop
I
them.
imagine
oh
them,
my
like,
God,
way
they're
Cal's,
overdoing
oh my God,
it.
you killed the king. Yeah.
I imagine them being like, not like, how could you do this? But like, way overdoing it. Like,
Yeah.
like soap opera acting.
And Cal's kind of
levels
like,
of bad.
oh, what? And Mare's like, nope, I know exactly what they're doing. They're creating perception.
Right.
They're spinning the narrative right now.
Which is a Silver classic move.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's what they're good at.
And because as we know, the Silvers all don't unite behind the same thing. There are going to be Silvers who are going to be like, I bet Elara used her powers. Just like they were probably the same one Silver that said, I bet Elara used her powers to take out Corian.
And then they
But
all
no one's
either...
going to say it.
Right.
Yeah.
And then if she finds out that someone thinks that way, she's just going to kill them.
Yep.
Because she can.
So Maven is like yelling, I don't know where you think you're going. There's nowhere for you to go. You're not going to get out of this building.
Yeah, because Cal takes a lesson from Mare and runs.
Yeah.
And then Mare's like, well, I guess I better run
I guess
too.
I'm going to go too.
Because after, the cameras switched back on or whatever, Arvin let Mare go.
Right. And she
So that
gets
they could try to escape just to make everything a little bit worse for them.
Right. Because, Elara wants to watch them run.
Right.
At this point in time.
of
It's
course.
just part of the game.
Plus,
for
if
her.
they run, it looks better.
Right.
Right.
They're running
So
away
they
from the
look
scene of the
guilty.
crime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They look so much more guilty.
They're not going to stand and say, we didn't do this. It was Elara. They're going to run.
Right.
And it's going to
Because
Right.
then they would be opposing the queen,
And-
which would get them killed anyway.
Right, and conveniently, when the cameras come up, Arvin releases his hold on them, which allows them to use their abilities, so it doesn't look like, to anyone
Yeah.
else other than the people in that room.
It looks like they just, came in there,
Right. Of course, unless they ask about,
chopped the king's head off.
the 30 minutes or so that the cameras weren't working.
Right.
But
that
no
can
one
be
asked
easily explained away.
by Elara, because no one asked about the random blank spots in the cameras or in the memories of all the guards when the Scarlet Guard prisoners escaped, because
Well,
Elara
basically,
covered that
We're going to have
up.
to get back to that, too, yeah.
Nobody's going to question Elara's events. She's now
No.
the widow. You know what I mean? She knows exactly how to play everybody because she's
Right.
been doing it.
People
for a
either
long
going to
time.
buy it because she plays them well, or the ones that don't buy it are too afraid of her because
So they're
look
not
at
going
what
to say
she's
anything.
already accomplished.
So Cal and Mare make it all the way down to the banquet hall.
Yeah, they make it impressively far.
Yeah, they get pretty far.
Is this where Cal just goes like berserk and starts just burning everything?
Yeah, for a minute he tries to like blast the way out of there. Like he thinks that they're going to be able to make it through there before the Sentinels close in on them.
And then Mare's like, yes, I'm ready to go.
Yeah,
and
more Sentinels close in and Mare sparks up and she's like, let's do this. And
Cal's just
ready, fight!
Cal's just like, no,
we
like,
can't. No,
we can't win this.
There's too many people.
Yeah.
If we start battling, they're just going to pull out their guns and make us Swiss cheese.
Right.
You know,
like we can't fight our way out of this.
We can't win this.
So,
Cal's own men,
his own legion are there.
Yeah.
So their loyalty has now switched to Elara.
Right.
They've seen her spin on everything. They think Cal has killed the king and he's this traitor. And they close in on him to arrest him. And so one of his captains, one of his second in commands, steps forward and says, submit to arrest.
Yeah.
And he says, we submit. And Mare's like, I'm out of here, I'm gonna run. But she knows that she can't.
Yeah.
And she has to stay next to Cal because she can just feel his sorrow.
Yeah.
You know, and she
loves being depressed.
She loves being depressed. She loves a man she can save.
A damaged guy.
Yeah, definitely got to have the damaged guy.
There has to be a little toxicity in the relationship.
Absolutely, 100%. She loves that drama. But, yeah, they know that there's nowhere they can go. They're now going to be prisoners and considered traitors because the king is dead and Cal is suspect number one.
So, unlike the cheat, the king is dead.
Right.
Yeah.
I have to lighten this up somehow. Give me a break.
The king is not dead.
Yeah.
The king is not dead.
The king is so dead.
So to recap,
yeah.
The king is dead at the hand of Cal, but really at the hand of Elara.
Mm-hmm.
And Cal and Mare are now caught. And that's treason.
Yeah.
They're going to be executed.
Right.
Definitely. Straight to the bowl of bones.
Yeah.
Do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
Right.
You're right there.
Yeah.
And that is where we'll pick up next week.
So,
Actually, no, we're just going to be recapping next week.
Yeah, we'll be recapping a lot next week. Because
next week will be it'll
be a very heavy recap.
Yeah.
Going back through the book to where we can kind of see how a lot of this was set up. Because there's so much that once you go back and look at it, that you can see where she did such a good job writing the book, the author did, that you can see where you should have seen what was coming.
But
you could still see it. Well, seeing it from Mare's point of view, you can understand why you didn't.
Right. It's written so well, because there are some twists where it's like, that just doesn't make sense at all. Like, there were no clues. And then there are some that are super obvious. And you see them coming from, 3 chapters into the book.
Right. See, okay, I'm gonna break it down because I know we're gonna talk about it more in the next episode when we do the review, the recap. But I am gonna tell the story real quick now because the recap's gonna be long.
The recap is already gonna be long.
I'm gonna tell the story about
when you read it
because Mia kept telling me 26. Chapter 26 is the big one. Chapter 26. Have you guys 26 yet? Wait till you get 26.
Right.
So I knew something was coming anyway. And as I'm reading the book, as I'm getting closer and closer, I took an envelope and I wrote down, before I read chapter 26, what I thought was going to happen, which all I wrote down was, Maven betrays Mare.
Yeah.
And then I read chapter 26, and then I had her go get that envelope and read it.
I was so mad at you.
But the only reason I did that
That's a little general.
It is, exactly. That's just it. I had no clue that they were going to have, Elara was going to have Cal decapitated. I didn't see the events that unfolded at all.
Also,
I just knew because I knew something big was going to happen, and I knew there were 3 more books, and I'm like, one big thing that would make everything go in a completely different direction so that you could really have that much more story to tell would be if Maven betrays her and becomes the guy that they're against. That's it. But I didn't see it going down this way.
Right.
betrayed is the best word I can think to use, but it's not technically correct. Because even Mare says something about it in the chapter. We didn't read it, but she says something like, not betrayed because he was never on my side at all.
Right.
Right. It's not like he was really with her and then someone turned him and
right.
he never was with her.
Right.
Yeah, he completely played her.
He was
from the beginning
right.
to the end.
Everything he did and said while they were setting all this up was
manipulation.
fake.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm gonna hint at another part of that story. You said that there were 2 possible twists.
I did. The other one will
The other one we will get to, but it also happened.
I didn't think they would both happen.
You didn't think that they would both happen.
But I thought one of the two.
Yeah. So, technically...
You can't tell me that there's going to be a twist, because then I'm going to be looking for it.
Right. You were looking
This is
for it
true.
anyway.
He's always looking for the twist.
You were looking for it
So,
anyway.
but next week's episode is going to be a lot of fun, because we get to go back and go over... And we can finally unleash our contempt for Maven that we've been disguising for the last 15 episodes of this podcast.
Now,
thinly veiled disguising.
you
on my
especially.
I can now let my true hate for Maven flow because I hate him.
I hate him as a person, the way he's, you know what I mean, because he's written so well, but I love him as a character
so well.
simply because it's written so well and it sets up so much. Like, if it wasn't, it's written so well that you have to hate him this much. And that's the kind of character you got to have in your book if you want to have, like, the most vile person thing you can think of that for your protagonist to overcome.
Yeah.
Maven's it.
And also, it takes, like, it's going to take Mare a while to get over this.
Right.
To really be able to be like, I mean, we weren't, like, a thing. Like, he didn't actually love me.
It's going to take 3 books.
Which is funny that she's like, he didn't actually love me, when the whole time she was thinking about his swole brother anyway, but I digress. But
17-year-old girl.
The thing that gets me with Maven even most, like, Elara's, has her big speeches and does what she does, but the thing that gets me with Maven is it's not just like hatred, it's almost like absence of any feeling. Because when it all goes down and, Mare's like, but Maven, what about me? I never cared about it.
Right.
And then Elara's like, you can say your goodbyes, Maven. He's just like, no.
I have none.
Total indifference to her.
Right.
That's worse.
Yeah.
It is.
Such a good bad guy.
It isn't love, it isn't
as
hate,
you will
it's
see
just
in the future
indifference.
books. Wow.
Yikes.
And I think that them having that previous emotional connection just makes it so much worse.
It does.
I mean, better as, like, a villain, but worse for her.
Right, like I said, she could almost, like, if he just went from, if he, supposedly said he loved her and all that, but then he just, like, I hate you with the burning of 1,000 suns, it would almost be easier for her than if he just literally was like, I could care less.
Right.
Yeah.
Because at least then she would be like, well, he's still, like, thinking about me in some way. Nope, he just doesn't care.
The last 2 months meant nothing to him. Not even a little.
Nothing.
Next week's episode's going to be a lot of fun.
It is going to be a lot of, well, I don't want to say a
Not
lot of fun.
but a lot of, I think, venting. It'll be good for us.
It'll be good for us.
We can finally get all this off our chest.
There may be some yelling. There may be some
tears. I don't know. It's going to be a roller coaster.
Yeah. There may be some laughing. Trust me.
That's why I wanted to at least try to have a little bit of laughing in this episode, because the review, I mean, there may be, but it's...
I remember when you were reading it, and there was a time when you came into my room and I asked you who your favorite character was. Your answer was Maven.
It was. It was at that time.
Literally, I tried my best to keep a straight face until you left my bedroom. Then, as soon as, like, I heard my door close and I heard your door close, so I knew you wouldn't hear me, I just fell back on my bed and started laughing.
Yeah.
Because...
She's like, Mom, guess what? Dad's favorite character
I guarantee you I'm not the only one, especially in those early chapters.
No. I probably felt that way at some point. I just never really, like, cataloged it. I never really thought, like, this person's just my favorite character until I got into, like, book 2, really. Although,
I mean,
Farley was kind of always there.
Farley's my favorite character, definitely, at this
Yeah,
point.
after, like, Farley started showing up a lot more, that's when she was really my favorite character. And it didn't stop. I've read the entire series. And she's always up top.
She stays up there.
Yeah, we'll get a lot more Farley in the future books, which is great.
Yeah.
And learn a lot more about her.
Yeah, you learn a lot about Farley in the next book.
Sure.
But anyway, so I guess we're done going over chapter 26. Now we'll do our review in the next episode. Did we have any kind of fan art?
We do. We're going to switch fan art corner up a little bit this week for a surprise that I saw this morning in the Red Queen group that I'm on Facebook, which is just Red Queen Series is the name of the group. And conversations about chapter 26 happen occasionally in there because it is such a pivotal moment for the entire series. But this one happened to pop up the day before we were going to record this episode. So today...
The universe wanted us to show you this.
Exactly. Today's fan art is not a picture drawn by somebody or an illustration or anything. It's a meme.
It's great.
It's your typical Anakin Padme meme.
Yeah.
Can I see this again?
Yeah.
It's Mare, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Padme is Mare, and miscast Anakin is Maven, and it's you're gonna help me up, right?
Maven stands up. Mare, Maven, you're gonna help me up, right? Maven just stares at her. Mare, Maven, you're gonna help me up, right?
Yeah, if you heard that during the episode, that's exactly where it came from. Am I though?
So we will have that.
You're gonna help me up, right?
Yeah.
Oh, honey.
I'm pretty sure the Tumblr that it was taken from has been deactivated, but the handle is on the image itself. So I'll put the image on our Instagram. We'll put it on our YouTube video that Mia will make for us, and then we'll put it on the fan art section of our website, which is www.readingwiththerockefellers.com. We are planning out our bonus episodes for when we're done with this book because we've only got a couple of chapters left, and then we'll be hitting bonus episodes.
Until we start the second book, we're going to need a breather, a couple of
Yeah.
palate cleanser episodes.
Definitely need a breather.
Where there's going to be like a book 1 recap.
Yeah, book 1 recap.
Fan
casting for sure. So hit us up with ideas on that. Yeah, I saw another mare that we can share later on. It might not be a bad idea. So, yeah, exactly. Kind of keeping an eye out on the interwebs for things. Hit us up on Instagram. That's where a lot of our communication takes place. Mm-hmm. It's at Reading with the Rockefellers. You can email us at readingwiththerockefellers@gmail.com. We love to hear from fans there. Our website, like I said, is www.readingwiththerockefellers. There you can find all of our episodes. You can find our fan art. You can find our beautiful pictures, our blog posts, and then the YouTube channel where we have all of our video versions of our episodes. Mia puts together. It is Reading with the Rockefellers, so you can search that there as well. And I think we got everything. So, yeah. Come back next week when we will be doing our wrap up and kind of our reaction to chapter 26 and how everything has led up to this point and kind of what's going to go on from here.
A breakdown, a recap, kind of. I don't know exactly what to call it. I think all those words apply.
100%. 100%. Kind of expressing our emotions, really letting
Yes.
out all of our emotions.
Coming to terms with chapter 26.
I think the title of the episode might just be Processing Chapter 26. Like,
Yes.
you know, this is how we're going to get through it together.
Yeah.
Solidarity.
Yeah. We'll help you along the journey to acceptance.
Right. And prepare you for the road post Chapter 26.
We'll go through all 5 stages of grief together.
Right. So thank you guys for coming along this journey with us, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.